In a quiet secondary school in Nigeria, two girls became inseparable friends. Their names were Ada and Binta. From the very first day they met, something clicked between them, as though destiny itself had tied their lives together. They studied together, laughed together, shared food, secrets, and even dreams. Wherever you saw one, the other was never far behind. Teachers often called them the twins who are not twins. But there was something unusual about Binta. Life seemed to favor her in a way no one could explain. Whenever Binta needed something, help would appear. Strangers would be kind to her for no reason. Teachers liked her instantly. Even when she had no money, she would somehow meet someone willing to help her. It was as though life bent itself gently in her direction. Ada noticed it, but at first she admired it. When they finished secondary school and entered university together, the pattern only grew stronger. Binta's life blossomed effortlessly. She met a wealthy young man who fell deeply in love with her. He spoiled her with gifts, money, and attention. Opportunities found her without struggle. Even scholarships and connections seemed to appear at the right time. Ada, on the other hand, struggled quietly. She tried her best in school, but nothing came easy. Interviews passed her by. Opportunities she expected would be hers somehow ended up in Binta's hands. Still, Binta never stopped sharing. If she received gifts, she gave Ada some. If she had money, she supported her friend. If Ada was in need, Binta helped without hesitation. But something began to grow inside Ada, a silent question. Why does everything always favor her? Why does she shine while I struggle? One day, that question became too heavy to ignore. Ada visited her mother in the village and poured out her heart. She spoke about her struggles, her disappointment, and the constant feeling of living in Binta's shadow. Her mother listened carefully and then became quiet. After a long pause, she said something that changed everything. She said perhaps Binta's destiny was overflowing, and maybe Ada's own life was meant to carry more struggle than she deserved. And then, slowly, the idea was introduced, a dangerous idea, that destinies could be influenced and possibly exchanged. At first, Ada hesitated, but the more she thought about her life, the more she felt trapped. Every failure, every disappointment, every rejection pushed her closer to that decision. Eventually, she agreed. Through her mother, she was taken to a native spiritualist who warned her clearly that such a thing would come with consequences. But Ada didn't care anymore. She only wanted a different life. One day, an opportunity came. Binta left her clothes unattended in their hostel while preparing to travel for the weekend. In that moment, Ada quietly took one item belonging to her friend. It was the final step needed. And from that moment, everything began to change. At first, it looked like success had finally found Ada. Opportunities began opening for her. People started noticing her more. Things that once slipped away from her now began to stay. But at the same time, Binta's life began to fall apart. The favor she once enjoyed disappeared suddenly. Her relationship with her wealthy boyfriend collapsed without explanation. Opportunities she was already promised were withdrawn. Even her confidence began to fade. It was as if a light had been switched off in her life. Binta was confused. She didn't understand what she had done wrong. She prayed, she cried, she tried harder, but nothing changed. Meanwhile, Ada was rising, and deep inside, she knew why. But she kept pretending everything was normal, until one day, truth caught up with her. Binta eventually discovered Ada's betrayal. The realization broke her completely. The pain was not just about lost opportunities, but about losing someone she trusted more than anyone in the world. When she confronted Ada, the truth finally came out, and what was once friendship turned into heartbreak and silence. But destiny does not remain unbalanced forever. As Ada continued to rise, she began to feel something strange. Her success no longer felt peaceful. It felt heavy, almost borrowed. And slowly, things began to change again. The favor that once followed her started fading. while Binta, through prayer and deep emotional healing, began to recover pieces of her life. In the end, both women stood at opposite sides of life. One had learned the cost of envy, the other had learned the pain of betrayal, and between them stood a friendship that could never be repaired again. Because sometimes in life, it is not just what you take from someone that destroys you, it is what you lose in yourself while trying to take it.